Welcome to the Avalanche podcast. Today we are talking about the League Cup final that happened yesterday. Andrew, definitely not the result or the outcome that we wanted. Losing 1-0 to Liverpool. That is three this season. Well, sorry, two games that we've lost to Liverpool this season, and six domestic finals in a row that we have now lost at Wembley, which I believe is a new record, if I remember correctly from what they were saying. So yeah, still breaking records, guys. Woo!
What we do.
There's lots of points to cover, I feel, with this game. Um, in terms of what happened during the game, the aftermath, other fans' comments, pundits' comments, etc., etc. But right now, Andrew, give me your thoughts on that performance, the starting 11, and just how you think it went throughout the entire game, including the 20 minutes of extra time at the end.
We started, I think the commentator said this during the game. We started every half slowly, and even the extra time, we started everything really slowly. Didn't really look up for it and weren't really wanting to take the game to Liverpool, and then sort of grew into it every time, which seemed a bit bizarre. Um, Potter's come out after the game and said extra time were just knackered, or at least Conor Gallagher and Chilwell were. So I suppose that's part of the reason why the extra time wasn't quite so good. I think they were just knackered, and that like 5 minute break just took it out of their legs, and they're just, when you've been running for ages, you have a rest, and then all of a sudden your legs just feel like lead.
Oh yeah,
I
like
feel like we had that in the extra time and just weren't at it at all.
we had three players on the ground during that half time, uh,
Mm.
all getting treatment to their legs in some way or some form, whether it was stretching or trying to move the lactic acid and the blood around. Caicedo was even getting massaged, I think, on his hamstrings or his calves. Um, I will just quickly on that point though. I will say, because you've mentioned it already, Chilwell being tired, no complaints there whatsoever. What I found strange is in that halftime period, you can see Poch and Colwell having a conversation. They call Gusto over, but they don't make the change until quite late on into the second half of extra time. But you could clearly see that they were planning on taking Chilwell off and moving Gusto to left back, because obviously that's where Cole was at the left centre back position, and they were talking about what they were going to do. I thought that was quite surprising considering he was tired. He has, well, had injury problems. I wouldn't say he's recently come back from an injury, but I thought he looked like he was done there and then at halftime, if I'm brutally honest. And I thought he should have come off straight away.
I don't think they had much better on the match, to be honest. But
Fair.
point taken. I think over the course of the game, it was relatively even. And I think 0-0 at the end of it. We had a good spell at the last 20 minutes. And I think we caused them a lot more problems than they caused us over that 90 minutes. But again, we just didn't take our chances. We had a few, we hit the post. Noni had a few relatively toothless shots. Connor should have scored.
How many?
We definitely the one where it was 1-on-1 with the keeper. Can't think of any others, but there was also sort of the goal line scrambles. We had one down our end, they had one at their end.
Yeah, that was after the Sterling poor touch and Palmer shot. Yeah.
So it's a game that we could have won.
Should we have won?
I think with the Liverpool team that they had and the players that they had available, we should have won that game. I think we should have performed better. We should have dominated the midfield a lot more, and we should have had more of the ball than we did. And again, we just didn't take our chances. So it it is a bit of you don't know which Chelsea's going to turn up at the minute, and it was the toothless one that turned up that couldn't put the ball in the net, and unfortunately that team's not winning games.
Yeah.
So we didn't win the game, basically.
Yeah, I was bitterly disappointed at the end of that game. I mean just the fact that it was 2 minutes as well to extra time, and I mean I got the sense that we might have been playing for penalties, and Poch, to be fair to me, even came out and said, yeah, the team. I didn't actually hear the comment about them being absolutely knackered, but I did hear the comment where the team and him had decided that it was better to play for penalties rather than to try and win the game with when Liverpool brought all their youngsters on, which they tied, but I still found that a little bit surprising. Um, and I just think playing against a team like Liverpool, it's always dangerous to do that. One of the biggest things that I've taken from this game is not where our team is versus their team, but I think where our club is versus their club. In the sense that what they've been able to do over the last 8-9 years under Klopp, it didn't happen straight away. They've got an identity with how they play, and everyone plays that way. Even some of the youngsters came on. It was like some of them look like they could have been playing all season, if I'm brutally honest. Um, they have a style, they have an identity, and they pick players that play to that style and will back that way of playing. Even you're seeing it through the youth. It's coming through the youth now. So I mean, all credit to them. Which hurts me to say. Uh, yeah, I still don't think that the formation was right. I still back my five at the back. Um, because we didn't actually get into the game until Gravenbach got injured. Um, and they had to move Connor Bradley into midfield and move things around like that. So, like I said, I think it's just the way that they play. They play a certain way, and they swarm our midfield and they swarm our defenders. I feel if we had an extra person there, we may have done a bit better, not looked as flustered and panicky. Um, but yeah, I mean, going back to the average age thing, I think you said it off camera beforehand. Um, before the kickoff, Liverpool's average age was 25 years and 8 months. Ours was 23 years and 9 months. And I think even when they brought the youth players on, our average age was still younger, if I remember correctly.
I think even after they brought all the youth players on, it was still
24 or something.
older than our
Yeah.
team at the start, and we didn't get any older. We ended the game younger. So, yeah, those comments about Klopp's kids has been very annoying, especially when if you're looking at kids, you're looking at experience on the pitch. And while they did have kids, they had a 21-year-old next to Virgil van Dijk,
Yeah.
who's a Champions League winner. He's 32 years old. He's won the Champions League. He's won the Prem. He knows what he needs to do, and he's the one that scored the goal. Um, versus we started with Cole Will, who's a 21-year-old centre back
Only
next
just turned
to
21 today.
Dizazi. So I think at the start of the game we had two players that were younger than their sort of the player that was playing the same position of them.
Yeah.
With two players that were older than Liverpool's like equivalent player, and you're just like calling it Klopp's kids when it's something that we've struggled with all season, and giving Liverpool the benefit of the doubt for the injuries they've had. And you go, well, yeah, they're missing Trent, but we're missing Reece James. I get that they've been missing Salah for a few games, but we literally haven't had a midfield sub for most of the season. Those three have had to play every minute of most games.
Pretty much, yeah.
And like, yes, Enzo's had breaks when he's had hernia and we've had to take him off and bring on a sort of a youth player. But I think a lot's been made of Liverpool and the youngsters and the kids. And I think a lot gets made of Liverpool bringing through young players when realistically, when they play young players, it's because first team players are injured.
Yeah, and I think we've also said before, I'm pretty sure I've said it, which is when you've got a club like Liverpool who have a very stable team who are playing well. I mean, last year they didn't do as well as they normally do, but let's face it, most years. They're there or thereabouts, in all competitions. It's easier. I think it's easier to bring in, the youth to fill in a space or to even get a start because you've got players that are performing, who know the role, who know what to do, that can help support them. We don't have that. To be fair, we don't have a lot of experience in our team. Most of our experienced players have actually been injured.
Mm.
Throughout this season. What
And we just generally don't really, if you think about it.
we don't have a lot of experience,
We've
especially
got Thiago Silva, who's very old and
40.
experienced, but outside of that, we don't really have a lot of players that are experienced players.
Well, it's Reece James, Chile, and Sterling.
I mean, Reece James 24, yeah,
Yeah,
Sterling,
but that's what we're
but then
saying.
Nkunku
That's
26.
our experienced players,
Yeah,
and two of them have been injured for most of the season.
yeah.
So yeah, I think it was more due to the timing. I think it's just more due to the timing of, oh, it's a final. Some of their key players are out. What will they do? This is bad. This is bad timing for them. And I think it's just been overemphasized because of that, and because they brought on what, four, five youngsters,
Or
four. I mean, to be fair,
you might think Gomez is a youngster, but he's 26. They
no, he's
brought
not.
on.
He's
It's just one of
but
them that's been around for years that always looks 19.
going back to the
Well,
goal.
no, I mean, even 21, like Concer's not a youngster, he's 21. Timiskas, they brought on 27. They
Yeah,
brought on
they,
two 19-year-olds and an 18-year-old.
yeah, they brought on Clark, Dancer, the striker,
Dan's, yeah.
McDonald,
McConnell.
McConnell. I was close. Um, I mean, Clark did look good when he came on. To be fair to him, and Dancer put himself about a bit, but it's easier when you've got momentum and a flow. So going back to the goal quickly, there's been a lot of debate with regards to pundits and our fan base. I think I'd say that from what I've seen, the fan base is split in two into whose fault the goal is. Now, do you think it's Mudrik's fault? Do you think Mudrik should have done better at that near post?
I don't think there's many people that are winning header against Van Dijk. And I think it's just a system point where we've adopted this system of a semi
Zonal.
semi zonal, which means that your big players are not marking their big players, and you're kind of hoping that they're in the right area and attacking the ball correctly. It's gone around the front post, and they've scored. It's Van Dijk. Even if you've got Dizazi or Colwell on him, he's probably winning that header.
Well, to be fair, it was Dizazi's man. Dizazi loses him and chases him.
But I don't think Dizazi's supposed to be on anyone. I think he's probably just the closest big man that's supposed to be attacking the ball. So, yeah, I think it's just a fault in the system, and you can't ever get it right. Apparently, it's the best system. I don't disagree, but when you've got someone like Van Dijk, who's already scored ahead in the game, you're going to struggle, and we probably need to manage him better. Bear in mind, there wasn't a lot of other threats on the pitch for Liverpool at that point.
Agreed. Agree with that. Yeah. I mean, for me, the height that it comes in at, I don't think Mudrik can actually attack it. I think if he attacks it, he's not going to get it.
No,
To be fair, and also I've said it before, he can't head for shit. And actually, when you watch the replay, he drops his head so much it's like this, like it's going to hit this part of his head anyway. It's not even going to hit his forehead. Um, I think it's unlucky. To be fair, more than anything else.
I don't think there's a hell of a lot you can do about it. I don't think that's
No,
one you can blame players for
no.
particularly.
And I feel so sorry for Mudryk because I just feel like his confidence has dropped and dropped and dropped. I mean, we've said this before in our keep, loan, sell debates, but throughout the season you see it drop, 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 and even to the point where when he's coming on, you look at how he looked with his body language before he came on at the beginning of the season versus it now. You're just like, oh mate, you know, I do feel sorry for him. Um,
I don't actually
no,
after that performance. I think he could have had a very easy game. All he had to do was start trying to run in behind. The run, like the amount of space that we were having in behind before he came on, and on the other side after he came on. And I think Colwell even went back there and exposed it a little bit.
He did. Yeah, he did.
If he was even remotely aware, like game aware, just start sprinting. As soon as we've got the ball, Petrovic has got it. Just start running. I I was very upset actually with how Mudryk played. In one, wasn't running going forward,
Yeah.
and two, just didn't look that interested in defending either. And I think if you're not playing well,
Effort. All you
you
can
need
do
to put the
is
effort in.
effort. Yeah, and it's not like he hasn't got the pace. This is why we love Werner. When everyone says
Mm,
he's not getting goals, but he runs. Like he
yeah,
runs forward, he ran back. Absolutely. I get what you're saying, yeah.
and I think that's the problem. And I don't think I don't understand, but like he seemed from the sounds of it, he tries so hard in training. You're like, well, why doesn't he try so hard during the games? That's the way he's going to get his confidence and he's going to start playing well. But apparently he like does extra gym sessions and he like does try really hard. I find it difficult to understand why that doesn't translate into when he's playing. He is putting a lot of effort in, running around, and especially in that game where they were very leggy, the Liverpool players, and we could get in behind them. How he doesn't clock that and just start making those runs.
No, I agree with everything you said. I think they're very valid points. And I'm not gonna be don't want it to sound like I'm sticking up for him. But there's a part of me where when I see him, especially when I see him come on into a game, and I've said this at the beginning of the season as well, he looks lost. Like he just looks lost to me. It's as if he doesn't know where to stand, he doesn't know what to do. Like I don't know whether that's due to our style, which at the end of the day we keep calling it counter attack, which we think should surely fit into Mudryk quite nicely. Um, I just don't know. He doesn't look like he knows where to go. He doesn't look like, whether it's down the flank, whether it's cut in. It's almost like he doesn't know where other players are going to be. And I just think he looks
I,
lost.
I can understand him not in a game situation knowing where players are going to be. And if he was picking the ball up, running at people, making runs in behind and not getting it and getting a little bit frustrated, I could understand. And if he was making some wrong decisions and driving at people when he should have passed it, I, I could make sense of that. I don't understand how,
He's so
and maybe
static.
I don't understand how he doesn't know where he needs to be
No,
at
but
this
that's
point.
the thing. I don't get it either. Like, I
And
don't
maybe it
understand what
is
he's
just
being
like
told.
we're messing about too much with tactics, and it should just be like, let's make it easy for him. Mudryk, if we get the ball, just start fucking running in behind. Um, Especially in these games, I think that's when he should be playing and when we should be bringing him on. So he should know. Like I don't think he's as useful in games where they've got 10 men sat behind the
Behind the
ball.
ball. Yeah.
But bring him on in games like that, he should just know that he's got to run in behind and he's got to make something happen. Yeah, I don't know how that gets fixed. It should be an easy fix, but it obviously isn't getting fixed at the minute. So we'll see what happens with him.
Last question on Mudryk. Just to keep yes or no. Um, should we have let him go to Bayern Munich in January?
Not really. I don't.
Fair.
I don't think it really helps. He's one of only two players that want to play on the left. So
Yeah, fair. Fair.
anything happens to Sterling, then we're sticking Nkunku out there, or Jackson plays out there, and then we're forced to play Nkunku, who he doesn't seem to fancy at the minute playing through the middle. So, um, no, I also don't think the German league really correlates. He might have gone over and got some confidence, but I don't think experience playing in the German league helps you play in the Prem.
Yeah. Um, Poch. Where do you think this leaves Poch at the moment?
Again, I don't think it's really his fault. I think we score the chances that we have, and we've taken those chances in other games. So it's not like a foregone conclusion that we wouldn't score those. But we score those goals and we win that game, like relatively comfortably.
Yeah.
But
I
we
mean, we
didn't
did
take the
score one
chances.
goal, but it was offside. But you know,
Very tight. Um, while we're on that, I'm very upset. I don't know if VAR are looking at the same cameras we're looking at, but how Wembley, where all the games are that big, the cameras are in the fucking corners that we're trying to do VAR from. Mental. How you don't have like VAR like cameras dotted around so that you're generally relatively level with it is just mental to me. But
but
we move.
that's come up before in another game. I can't remember which game it was. It wasn't a Chelsea game, but I remember that exact conversation came up where wasn't it the Liverpool Spurs game where they
Might
had
have
the
been.
phantom
Was that at
offside and they said
Wembley? Was it
no, that was at Spurs,
right?
but they were complaining about why is the camera there
Yeah,
more than anything else. What I didn't really get was why is it when they drew the lines on and then they've then gone down,
yeah,
they've zoomed out,
yeah.
and I was like,
I can't see
you
anything now.
can't see it. Like, what you?
I don't
And
know
as
if
well
that's
as I
Sky
like,
Sports and we're not
fucking
getting
cover
their
up,
view or how it works.
fucking. I was
But
like, fucking cover up. I was like, I tell you what, that is that their way of getting away with it now in terms of actually like if we zoom out, no one else can see it, so we can't get fucking done for it.
yeah,
I didn't get that. I didn't get that.
I was slightly aggrieved when I saw a zoomed in version and Jackson is like on his arm, but Kanate is on his foot and his like shoulders in front of his foot, and I'm like, I don't think he was. I don't think he was onside. I think it's pretty close.
I didn't think he was onside in real time. If I'm
No,
brutally
I didn't think he
honest,
was onside. I don't think
I'll
we.
be brutally
It's one of
honest.
those where like because the lino flagged it anyway, we didn't lose anything from VAR there,
No.
and
No, no,
you
I
just don't get
agree. I
it.
just thought it was a bit of a weird one with like the zoom, like I said, the zoom thing on the lines and stuff. Because the lines weren't there for very long. They've zoomed out and you're like, gone. And it's like, what? So yeah. Um, any
Well,
was
while we're on offsides, what did
yeah.
you think of the offside given against Liverpool for their goal that didn't count?
Oh, what with Endo blocking?
Yeah,
I mean, I was really confused when I was watching it. If I'm brutally honest, I was so confused as to what the fuck was going on. Um, at the end of the day, it is a clear block. If that block doesn't happen, he he is in line with, or he's definitely in front of Van Dijk, and he can stop the ball. I think if it happens behind Van Dijk, I don't think you're complaining, but because it happens in front of him, and it does create a gap for him to run into, I agree. You know, we've seen ones been given where someone gets taken down in the box, and there's no way in hell they're going to get a fucking penalty for Christ's sake, and they gave it at some points in the game. I think that's died out now. Um, but no, I think that needs to be picked up more. I think Jamie Carragher, no, not Jamie Carragher, Jamie Redknapp said the same thing. He said it's the right decision. We just don't see it given that often. And again, it's a consistency issue. Um,
well, I think on that point there was an incident. I think last week or the week before, and I only saw it on like Sky Sports did a VAR in review thing with Howard Webb and Michael Owen,
oh
who
God,
was BT Sport. I can't remember what game it was, but there was one where a similar incident happened, but there was a bloke that was offside and was given the offside in real time, who was fouled by the opposing player, and then they VAR'd it and gave a penalty because apparently he wasn't technically offside because he wasn't trying to impede anyone. He wasn't involved in like impeding anyone, and he wasn't involved in actually getting near the ball. He was found before that happened. So they gave a penalty. And I think without that decision happening, I don't think they even look at it this week. I just think
yeah, no, it's a
it
fair
was an
shout.
element of luck of there's
Yeah,
been a similar situation that's happened recently.
yeah,
So now they're kind of hot on it.
yeah. That's no, it's a fair shout. That does explain it absolutely. And I mean, I can't give you examples, but we know that those things have happened this season.
Yeah.
from that. So
Well, the thing is, I don't know how many of them are blocked when the bloke's offside. You know, a lot of that blocking kind of happens. You just never
yeah,
know. I think if he's onside, nothing happens. He doesn't have to move out of Colwell's way. So if he's onside, it's
well, I
not
think
enough for a free kick, probably, is what they'd
well,
say.
yeah,
So
but it for me then comes down to how is he blocking him in terms of is he holding on to him and wrapping his arms around him,
true.
which we're not allowed to do, and even then you still see that happening, and it's like I don't understand it. Um, but yeah, I mean, were there any positives from this game from a Chelsea point of view for you?
Already additional ones to positives that we've had in other games, to be honest. I think it was a slightly below par performance from us at a time that we couldn't afford one. I don't think it was drastically bad. I think we made a lot of mistakes at the back, which, to be honest, I think Liverpool pressed well and caused a few of them, but
They always do. They always do.
some of them were like pretty embarrassing. I think Gusto was the main culprit.
He had a couple
He
of
just
bad
failed to
touches in the
control the
first
ball
half.
a few
Yeah.
times,
Yeah.
which
Zazie
was just
slipped as well on the ball, which gave
yeah,
him a chance. Yeah. Colwell made some errors as well in the first half. So yeah.
yeah. I don't think there's a lot of positives. But I don't think it was that bad either.
I think it's a performance that just sums up where we are,
Mm,
unfortunately.
yeah, just not quite good enough.
Not quite good enough and lacking consistency,
Mm.
I think is the way to say it. So do you have a Chelsea man of the match?
So I haven't thought about it at all. I, I think it's arguably Connor because but then he missed that chance. That was the last chance of score.
That
Like
no,
what
I agree. That's the thing
it's
that I came up
difficult.
with. That's the thing that I came up with. I was like, I can't actually think of someone, and I was like, well, Connor, but Connor missed 3 chances.
Maybe Petrovic made some
Petrovic
good saves.
is definitely on my list. Yeah,
I think it just has to be for me actually. Thinking
no, I
about it,
agree. I agree.
don't think anyone else really did a lot that was magical. I mean, the defenders made some good blocks, but like we say, all of them made mistakes. I don't think Petrovic was at fault for the goal. Made some good
No,
saves.
he did that double save, got kicked in the head at the same time.
Yeah,
Nearly got kicked over the line with the ball in his hand.
yeah.
Which was more worried about than anything else at the time. No, so I agree. I think it's Petrovic as well. Anything else that you want to add to this episode of the Overland Sea podcast?
Nope.
Fair enough. Right. Thank you all for watching. Unfortunately, we've lost our first final under Poch and the new owners. And yeah, on to the next one. As Andrew always says, we move. So stay tuned for the pre-game analysis of Chelsea versus Leeds in the 5th round of the FA Cup. As always, please like, share, subscribe, follow, hit that notification button and comment below. Thank you all for watching.